Dear students, in the last session you have studied the successional stages that begins on dry area like bare rock known as lithosphere. So in this session you are going to study about hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the successional events or the stages that begins in a newly developed water body like a pond or a lake. So that is hydrosphere. So what is an hydrarch? So the biotic succession, the ecological succession that begins in the water body, aquatic environment, newly formed water body. So what are the different stages found in the hydrosphere? So we will study the different biotic communities in the hydrarch succession. See here, in case of the lithosphere, a xeric condition will be converted into mesic condition, but whereas the hydrarch succession begins in hydric condition. When ecological succession begins, it will be a water body, aquatic environment. It will be converted into mesic condition. So hydric condition will be converted into the mesic condition. So water body like a pond will be converted into the forest, climax forest. A question can be asked, how is xerarch succession different from hydrarch succession? What is the difference in xerarch and hydrarch succession? In xerarch succession, when the ecological succession begins, it is the xeric condition. At the end, it is formation of mesic habitat, mesic condition. When the ecological succession begins in hydrarch, when ecological succession begins, it is the hydric condition, aquatic environment. So at the end, what will be formed? It is the mesic condition. So that is the difference in both hydrarch as well as xerarch succession. So in a newly formed water body like a pond, the pioneer community it is the planktons. The pioneer community it is planktons. Pioneer species are phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons are the free-floating microscopic plants. They are the microscopic free-floating plants. And these phytoplanktons form pioneer species. How do they develop in the newly formed water body? So their spores are being brought to this area by the help of a wind or through the animals like insects. So the spores for the pioneer community to develop in a newly developed pond, it is by the spores, it is by the wind or by the animals. So the phytoplanktons like cyanobacteria, yes, or it might be diatoms, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, or filamentous or colonial green algae. So they are forming the pioneer community. Okay, so pioneer community might be formed by them. So when there is phytoplanktons, there will be occurring zooplanktons, food chain in aquatic ecosystem. So when there are phytoplanktons, then there will be the zooplanktons. See, one of the characteristic feature of phytoplankton is they have the short lifespan but reproductive capacity is high. So they have high reproductive capacity and short lifespan. Due to the short lifespan, they add organic matter to the bottom. So they have, phytoplanktons have high reproductive capacity and short lifespan. So due to which what will happen? They will add organic matter to the bottom of the pond. Organic matter will be added. So now the bottom becomes fertile for the next biotic community to occupy there. So the silt gets mixed. Initially there will be silt present at the bottom of the pond. So organic matter get mixed with the silt and makes fertile for the next biotic community. So when these phytoplanktons die due to the short lifespan, they add organic matter to the bottom. So bottom slowly rises, depth increases. So depth decreases, bottom rises, depth decreases. So for these planktons, that is phytoplanktons, they make the conditions favorable for the next biotic community, that is submerged hydrophytes. And next serum stage, first is plankton stage. It forms pioneer community. So the next is the submerged stage. So in this stage, we could find the submerged hydrophytes like Hydrilla, Vallisneria, Chara. So they will be found. So when we tell submerged, these hydrophytes, their whole plant body is present within the water. So they generate more organic matter. Yes, bottom increases and the depth of the water starts decreasing. Yes, and also we can find some animals, few animals like insects, so starts visiting. So the submerged hydrophytes, so starts generating more organic matter. How? Because there will be some previous occupants, so they start dying out, due to which organic matter will be added. The next is floating leaves, anchored stage. So floating leaves should float over the surface of water, but the plant body will be found within the water. So plants like Nymphia, Nilambo, water lily, yes, as well as lotus. So in lotus you might have seen that they have the rhizome which is found anchored to the substratum. They have long petiole which will reach up to the surface of water, and they have the broad leaves which spreads over the water. So having the broad leaves which spreads over the surface of water, so they do not allow, these plants do not allow the light to penetrate. They make the shade for the previous occupants, for the submerged hydrophytes. So conditions becomes unfavorable, slowly submerged plants will die. Okay, so these plants will generate more organic matter. So these die, organic matter is added, bottom increases and the depth of the water decreases. See, one thing here you have to remember in case of hydroseed is that as due to the addition of organic matter, bottom will rise and depth of water decreases. Slowly from aquatic environment it will be converted into marshy, from marshy to the mesic condition. If it is in a zero seed, rock should disintegrate, water content should increase, there should be formation of soil, addition of organic matter and increase in the water content. But here slowly the amount of water decreases, depth of water decreases. So these floating leaves anchored hydrophytes like Nilambo and Nymphia, they generate the more organic matter. How? By removing the submerged hydrophytes, because they cover the submerged hydrophytes. They do not allow the sunlight to enter the water body. Floating stage. Similarly, like the floating leaves anchored hydrophytes, in the here we can find the free floating plants, like Azolla, Ulfia. Yes, so we can find Azolla, so Ulfia, Pistia, so they are floating. So like these, they also cover the water surface and making unfavorable for the previous occupants. So they also generate more organic matter and depth of water decreases. So the next is the reed swamp stage. In this stage, as it reaches, the ecological succession reaches to this stage, See here, we could find, initially it will be like this. Okay, so now the reed swamp stage includes amphibious plants. Some it will be free floating like this. Submerged hydrophytes will be like this. So now by this stage, the amphibious plants like Sagittaria, so their half of the plant body is inside and half it is outside. So half of the plant body is outside and half it is inside. Okay, so the part of the plant body which is outside, so it will undergo transpiration. Due to the transpiration, more amount of water will be transpired. So here in this stage, the amphibious plants, what they do? Due to the transpiration, they reduce the water table and convert the area into water logged region or area, or it is also known as marshy area. It will be converted into marsh. So these plants, half of the plant body which is inside and half which is outside. So the part of the plant body which is outside, so they undergo lot of transpiration and more amount of water will be removed, transpired, okay, and converts into water logged region. So by this stage, so water body that is formed entirely, it will be disappeared and it will be converted into marshy area. As the name tells, the next stage, marsh, meadow stage or sedge stage. Sedges are the group of grasses. Yes, hydrophytic grasses which can grow only in marshy areas. Sedges are the type of grasses which can grow in the these can be grown in a marshy areas. So sedges like cypress, carex are being found growing. So completely it is on the land like this. So yes. So we could find by that stage, so the plants are completely on the land. So in a marshy area, the grasses can grow. So these grasses, what they do? They undergo more transpiration. So due to the transpiration, water table decreases. So it decreases waterlogged condition. They reduce waterlogged condition. So here in this stage, what do the sedges do? Sedges are the group of plants. They are the grasses. So they are completely on the land. What they do? How are they involved in converting the area favorable for next biotic community? They undergo more transpiration, by which they reduce the amount of water. Woodland stage. The next is woodland stage. By this stage, we could find the trees, small trees, herbs, they are found growing. Small trees, herbs, so they are found growing. So they also undergo transpiration. Amount of water will be reduced, water table decreases, as well as their branches, they shade out. So they make the area shade. Okay, slowly it will be converted into mesic. So, and is favorable for the last climax forest. So the last, it is climax forest. Based upon where the ecological succession begins, whether it is in a tropical region, then the forest formed will be the rainforest. If it begins the hydrosphere, if it begins in the where it is the temperate region, then it will be coniferous forest or it will be deciduous forest. So now when the mesic condition is being created, the small trees, different types of trees, herbs, shrubs, the climax forest is in perfect harmony with the climatic condition. It will not be replaced. So one thing, once again I would like to tell, so in case of hydrosphere, we could find that from the pioneer community, as the ecological succession begins, due to the addition of organic matter, the bottom will increase. The bottom starts increasing, the depth of the water, the decreases, and it will be converted into marshy, from marshy to the mesic condition. So, pioneer community, it is the plankton stage. The cereal communities are submerged, floating stage, floating leaves anchored hydrophyte, floating stage, reed swamp stage, marsh meadow stage or sedge stage, woodland stage, and climax forest. So at the end, forest is being dependent on where the ecological succession takes place. Same even in the lithosphere also, whether it is in tropical region or in temperate region. So in the next session, so you will study about the last function of an ecosystem, that is nutrient cycle. Already you have studied the productivity, decomposition and energy flow. The fourth function, the last function of an ecosystem, that is the nutrient cycle or biogeochemical cycles. Thank you.